listening to Jai Long, and this is Make Your Break. Whether you're a big-hearted creative or an aspiring entrepreneur, let's take action on your dreams, reconnecting you with your why and giving you the how. I'm here to dish out actionable mindset tips and fun industry secrets to help you blow up your biz. From eye-opening reality checks to motivational gold, no two episodes are ever the same. So tune in weekly, skip the FOMO, and let's dive into the deep together. Yes, welcome back to the show. I'm so excited that you're here. Today, I want to talk a little bit about success, and I'm recording this last minute. It's going to be a little bit more conversational and a little bit more off the cuff. I've got a few tips for you. This one is very much for those that deem themselves as successful or are becoming successful, because there's many things that you got to navigate at different stages of life. And I think this one is perfectly fitting right now for a few different reasons. One reason for sure, I am so flat out right now rebuilding the six-figure business map. If you didn't know, we're from the ground up rebuilding the whole course. We're rebranding, we're rebuilding 2 websites, the whole back end of the business, restructuring, recreating, hiring more people, doing so much, right? Right now, a lot of people think that just because I got a little bit of success, I've probably stepped off the gas a little bit. So we don't often see how much work goes into everything in the back of people's businesses, especially when you get comparing with other people. And success is like an iceberg. You see the tip that's coming out of the ocean, but you don't see all the hard work, all the sleepless nights, all the anxiety, all the things that you go through, all the learning that you go through that happens underneath the ocean, and you do when no one's watching. Now, I really want to talk about a lot of things success today, because I think a few things might open up your mind a little bit and might give you a mindset shift. I hope it does, especially if you're sort of working towards success, or if you've recently hit some success, you're going to relate to a lot of these things. And I feel like you're going to be like, yes, finally someone said it. I'm glad that Jai said it. I'm glad I listened to his podcast. So I'm here to share all those little bits in between things. But one thing I've got to say, a lot of people don't realize this is, I guess like when you do get more successful, like you do work harder than anyone, right? A lot of people think once you get success, then you can retire or you can just relax. But the people that actually get success, they're usually like the type of people that don't want to retire anyway, because why do they work so hard in the first place to create a business, right? Not many people that I know that have gone out of their way to create a business. They've put everything on the line, regardless of the risk to the reward. They work days and nights and then go like, oh yeah, I'm doing all this so I can sit on the beach when I'm 70 years old with a cocktail in my hand. Not many people. People that have a full-time job, that's definitely their dream. But entrepreneurs, that's not so much their dream. Their dream is to live now, live large, live a lifestyle, create a business that they love, serve more people, do more, see what they are capable of, see how unrealistic they can be, so many other things. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is because I am rebuilding the whole business right now. And honestly, I've got to say, I'm in a little podcast room right now, and I've been working day and night and 7 days a week, just rewriting all the course content from my six-figure business map. I'm planning out the big launch that we got coming up, some cool guest speakers and things like that, the summit, so many things coming up. And a lot of people don't see behind the scenes of how much that I'm just sitting here and just the day-to-day uneventful, unflattering, just hustle, just work, just pure raw work. And you've got to do it. No matter how successful that you get, you've still got to show up. You've still got to do the work. So I want to go over a few different things. I actually wrote down 7 notes today to go over, and some of them, especially the first one, is more so like if you're becoming successful, something to think about. And then some are when you are really successful, things that do happen. So the first one I'd love to talk about is success loves preparation. I want to say that once more. Success loves preparation. If you've got success, then you know how true this is. When I say preparation, like what does that mean? Well, let's talk about education for a second, because I want to say a lot of successful people pay for education, and a lot of people that don't pay for education, they pay for the mistakes. Either way, you pay, right? So I know so many people that say like, man, I'm never going to sign up to a coach or a course or a workshop or, whatever it is. Never going to read that book. I don't have time. But the problem is, or I don't have money. But the problem is you're going to pay regardless. So it's going to take you longer to get there. It might be more painful. You're paying for that. Or you can get a shortcut and you can do it with people. You're also going to pay for that. So I always think about like, I know that I'm paying, no matter what choice that I make, I'm paying. I think people that have success realize which choice to make though, because they've done it before. And usually they're like, oh, okay, I've done it before and I know what I need to do. And I know which one is actually cheaper, and that's paying for education. Now, the reason why I say that is I know there's a lot of people that won't pay for education, but I just want to put things in a perspective for you. Right now, I'm looking at hiring another community manager, and I'm looking around at courses, and I'm buying courses, and some courses, they're a couple $1,000s, and I buy courses just for my staff, and I buy courses just for me. In the last 4 weeks, I've bought about $10,000 worth of courses just for myself, just to learn something new, one new thing, right? Because I know if I can learn one thing, a lot of people, we try and get a return on investment. So if I spent $2,000 on a course, I'm looking for an investment. Like, how can I make $100,000 from that course, right? Because I think big and I expand. I know some people that go like, oh man, I don't have enough time to read a book. And the book cost me $30. But I think about that book. I'm like, if I'm reading that book and I'm investing in it, where can I make $100,000 from this book? Like, what can I do? What one tip, one strategy, one mindset shift that's going to help me get to my goals? Now, when I think about that, then I can't afford not to invest in myself. I can't afford not to read the 50 books a year that I read. I can't afford not to spend the hundreds of thousands of dollars that I do on coaches and courses and workshops and mentoring and masterminds. I can't afford to not do that stuff, because otherwise I'm still paying for it. I'm just paying for it in a different way, and it's going to take a lot longer, and it's going to be a lot more lonely, to be honest. So success loves preparation. Here's another thing. If you're successful, which if you're listening to this episode, I'm guessing that you are, you love preparation. Now, think about this. Why do successful people do so well in recessions? Why do they do so well during something like, COVID lockdowns? Why do they do so well when there's a downturn? Why do they do so well? It's because I want you to think about this. If you're playing a sports game and you are the best on the field, then you don't mind. In fact, you like it if it was raining or if it was less than ideal conditions or whatever it is, because you prepared yourself for those moments and you know your competition didn't. You're ready for it. So success loves preparation. It's because the successful are reading the books, they're joining the courses, they're doing the masterminds, they're preparing themselves constantly, because it's not about what's in the past, it's about what's in the future. And trust me when I say harder times are always going to come. People that have success welcome those hard times because they know everybody else isn't ready for it. So one thing you got to remember, success loves preparation. How can you prepare all the time, especially for the worst, and then work towards the best? That's one of the most important things. Number 2, very interesting one, community over competition. Now, you hear this a lot. People always talk about community over competition. But once you get success, you probably realize it's not always the case. For you, it probably is community of competition. For me, it definitely is. I love my community. I'm all about community, and that's how I build everything. But not everyone's going to see it the same way, and people are going to start competing with you and seeing you as competition. You're going to get more resistance from people. People are going to see you no longer as an ally, but they're going to see you as a threat. And you're going to get pushed out of communities. You're going to feel like you don't have a community, because there's less people at the top than there is at the bottom. So at the bottom, there's huge communities there, but at the top, the community gets smaller and smaller as you climb the ladder. So it does sometimes feel a lot more lonely, but I wanted to give you a way to make it not so lonely at the top, right? You got to bring people with you. You got to create a community. If you're one of those type of people that said like, man, it's lonely at the top, no one's here, it's because you didn't bring anyone with you. You created the loneliness. You need to create your own community. For myself, since the very beginning, I remember when I first started educating and doing things like that, I got so many haters, so many people pointing fingers, so many people blame me for their failures and things like that. And I realized that really quickly it was community over competition, and that's all good on the surface level. But when it came down to it, that wasn't the case. So what I did is I took responsibility and I just created my own communities. And I remove myself from those other communities. Because if I can create my own community, it means I know deep down rooted that the whole point of this community is to lift each other up. And so there is nothing else. And so I want to be a part of those type of communities. And if they're not out there and if they don't exist, of course, I'm going to make those communities. So remember, it's like making your own break. And this is what this whole podcast is about. It's like if something's not in your control, if you can't find that community, if, whatever it is, and it's on you, you've got to get out there. You've got to make that community, draw those people in, and give less time to people that are trying to compete with you and are trying to bring you down in any kind of way. Okay. So make your own community and surround yourself with those amazing people. Which brings me on to number 3. Not everyone is going to be happy for you and your success. And you know this. As you get more success, people are going to be more resentful. People are going to blame you for their mistakes, blame you for them not being successful. And for an example, and I said this before, when I first started my wedding photography business, and people still say this today, I started doing workshops. And then a lot of the successful photographers started blaming me for too much competition in the market. They're like, Jai gives away all the secrets. That's why I'm not successful. That's why I'm not booking as much this year. Jai's doing this, Jai's doing that. And I don't realize they're the ones doing that. They're concentrating on what they don't have. They're not taking responsibility. They're trying to blame it on me, which I've got nothing to do with them whatsoever. I've taken control of my own success. I gave away all my secrets and I built a community, and I'm still flourishing. I'm here years later and I'm still flourishing. I give my secrets to everyone, regardless of anything. I don't hold back. And because I'm so openly giving all the time, I know my community give back to me all the time. And so it's a great relationship. So if you're trying to stop people from their success, hey, things are not going to work out for you. I can see that. I've seen it over and over and over. And I've got to say, you're going to find on your path to success, you're going to find people that are not happy for you. They're not going to celebrate you. They're definitely going to be resentful, and hopefully they don't get spiteful. I've definitely had a lot of different stories throughout the years. I've had people trying to blackmail me. I've had people trying to hack me. I've had people trying to call me out on things or counsel me. So many different things. And you would think, especially in the educational space, you'd think it'd be more community over competition. But have you ever noticed that in the educational space, there's not many communities and not many people collaborating with each other? It's because, as much as you think on the outside that's community over competition, trust me when I say it isn't that much community. It's very much competition, and it kills me. So that's why we started stuff like the Wedding Photography Summit in my industries, because I wanted to bring more people together. I want to collaborate with more people. That's why I'm always bringing people into my workshops, and I'm trying to share, and I'm always like sharing other people's workshops and other people's education stuff, because I know it best serves my community and my students and everybody else. But not everybody acts that way. And you're going to see really quickly as you get more success that people are not going to be happy for you. You're always going to get haters. Hey, excuse makers that are trying to justify why they're not successful, and they will always point the blame at you, okay? So I just want you to think about that. Number 4, you can't act entitled. This one is huge. The amount of people that I see that get some success and then they act so entitled that they deserve people's business. No one deserves and no one owes it to you to give you their business. It's just not the way that the world works. It doesn't matter how hard you worked. It doesn't matter how much trust you built. It doesn't matter how many, this is a big one. It doesn't matter how many years you've been in business. It doesn't mean you deserve people's business. You have to earn people's attention. You have to earn your clients. You have to earn their trust. You have to earn their respect. You got to earn their business. You got to earn their money, right? I see this all the time, especially as people get more successful on social media platforms and they feel like, hey man, I've got 100,000 followers. I don't get back to my DMs, and you should buy my stuff. You should buy my presets. I'm never going to give any kind of support. I'm never going to reach out to anyone. I'm never going to, whatever it is. And I think when you show up like that with entitlement, it's a very quick path to the bottom. And I see this over and over and over. And there's a reason why, especially in the wedding photography industry, where someone is huge and then all of a sudden they kind of disappear. It's because they got such a big ego that they will never try and build from the ground up, or they'll never admit to their mistakes, and they'll just slowly fade away into the background. And you probably noticed that before. But seriously, you cannot act entitled. Now, how does this look? Well, a lot of the times, and I see this over and over where, like, for instance, in my space as an educator for wedding photographers, an educator will bring out a workshop and go like, hey, tickets are on for sale. And they don't do any marketing. They don't do any advertising. They didn't put much effort into it. They just opened it up. And then they start blaming everybody for not buying their tickets and not having it as a success. And then they start pointing fingers at what they missed out on. Now, this is like entitlement to the extreme. Like, imagine acting like this towards your own clients. No matter how successful that I get, no matter how many clients that I have, no matter how many years I've been doing it, no matter how many followers that I have to make sure that I keep showing up. I get back to everyone's DMs. I keep serving at the highest level. I keep realizing that I don't deserve anyone's attention and I don't deserve anyone's business. I have to earn it, and I have to earn it daily. And whatever I did yesterday doesn't matter, because today I got to show up the same. Insanely important, and that will help you prolong your success, because if you don't act like that, man, there's someone else that's hungry and they're going to get it from you and from underneath you. Number 5, you can't blame. You must take responsibility. Too many of us, we blame everyone and everything else. The market's too saturated. How many times have you heard that? Someone blaming that the market's too saturated, and then all of a sudden something hits like COVID and people go out of business, and then we still blame. There's no one doing that. There's not enough people doing here. There's not enough things happening. So we go from we blame one thing and then we blame another thing, and we're just so happy and comfortable blaming and not taking responsibility. And this does go on to the other ones that I all just talked about as well. You kind of act entitled, and not everyone's going to be happy for you and stuff. You've got to take responsibility for everything. You don't have enough clients, it's your fault. If you got an unhappy review, that's your fault. Someone doesn't know how to post a photo on social media and you're hating the fact that they used a filter on your photo, that's your fault. Everything is your fault. And when you realize that everything is your fault, you'll take full responsibility. I've talked about this a lot before, but it also means if you're taking responsibility for your failures, you're now entitled to take responsibility for your success, because you made it happen. Take responsibility. No one is going to give you success. Your clients are not going to come and find you. You need to get your own success, and you need to go and find your clients. Take responsibility and don't put blame onto others. Hey, especially don't blame other people for your mistakes or for reasons why you're not successful. I've seen this over and over. There was this one person not too long ago got into my DMs and it was telling me that they joined my course and it didn't get success. They also joined every other course for the last 4 years and they didn't get any success, and they were blaming all the courses. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like that is a bit of a cop-out. If you joined everyone's course every single time, but you never got the success, it's probably not the course. You need to take responsibility for yourself. Hey, you're probably reading a lot of books and taking all the courses, but you're not taking action. That ain't going to do anything for you. You got to take responsibility. Why are you joining another course when you haven't taken action on the one that you've just joined, just participated in, right? So please, don't blame anyone else. It ain't anybody's fault. Your success is your fault. Your failures are your fault. Everything is your fault. And when you act and take responsibility like that, things open up and your success is going to go for so much longer. Number 6, you can't get comfortable and you can't get lazy. The second you become lazy is the second someone hungry is going to eat your meal. Like, seriously. The amount of times that I see people just get so lazy when they get a little bit of success and then they wonder what happened when they're left behind. People always tell me, like, Jai, don't work on weekends. Why are you working on weekends? And then they'll also complain to me and say, Jai, I don't have the same success that you have. Well, what did you do yesterday? Well, I watched a movie. Well, while you're watching a movie on Friday night, I've been here in the office. While you're going out for a latte Saturday morning right now, I'm here recording a podcast and I'm helping my community. Why do you think I have more success? It's because I'm showing up like that. I'm not lazy, right? And I know this is hard love and this one's hard for people to listen to, but honestly, you get comfortable and you get complacent, and the marketplace doesn't reward comfortable and it doesn't reward complacent. I'm telling you right now. So many of us, honestly, when I see the most successful people on the planet, the most successful people that have had it for a long time, and I'll talk to them, they're like, man, what'd you do on the weekend? And I'm like, okay, well, This weekend, I just wrote an ebook and I just released it. And this weekend, I just did a rebrand. This weekend, I've just, cold called 5 clients. This weekend, I just wrote out 100 emails to people. This weekend, you talk to those people that move like that, and there's a reason why they have that much success, because they don't rest on their laurels. They don't, take it for granted. They don't get comfortable. They don't get lazy. They know while everyone else is out playing golf, they can go and dominate the market. They can go and get some clients. They can go and find their clients. They can go and do something to make their success last even longer. So this one's really, really important, because I know for myself, it's insanely important, because people don't realize how much, like the most successful people you look up to, how much they work. When I talk to actors, when I talk to musicians, when I talk to entrepreneurs, when I talk to the best in the industry of whatever industry it is, like for instance, like when I interviewed Gary Vee, hey, Gary Vee was at a Knicks game, and while everybody else was cheering on the side of Knicks game, and even though he paid for his ticket, he was out the back talking to me on a Zoom call. It's funny how everybody else, they're eating popcorn and drinking soft drink and doing whatever. But here's the person that probably has the most success and is still hustling. We don't see these clues because a lot of us, we just expect it. It's like, yeah, of course, they should be like that. But we don't realize we need to be like that. Whilst you're just relaxing, whilst you're just chilling, have a look how everybody else is acting, right? And then don't get surprised if your unrealistic goals don't come to fruition because you didn't take unrealistic action. If you've got unrealistic goals, you have to take unrealistic action. It's the only way. You're never going to get there. And I'm not promoting hustle culture. I'm just telling the truth. That's what it is. I know if you got lots of success right now, you already know this is the truth and it's not going to trigger you. But I know so many other people are going to trigger you. Oh, Jai, man, can't I take a weekend off? Like, what about, it's my birthday. I want to take a day off. And what about this? I'm like, I get it. But you've also got to understand, you won't get the same success other people have. You can't, it's fine because not everybody else wants that success. But if you want the success other people have, you got to do the things they won't do. And many people won't even show up on time, right? They won't even put in an 8-hour day. They won't go above and beyond. They're always complaining about the responsibilities they have. They don't take it on board like they need to show up today like they showed up the first day of work. Show up today like the first day of your business. Show up with that enthusiasm, with that energy, with that drive, with that charisma, and make things happen. The second we get lazy, the second we get comfortable, is the second that the market will stop being favorable to you. The last one, this one is actually from a mentor of mine, but it's all about don't compete yourself, right? So a lot of the times we always compete, and when we become more and more successful, you actually start tending to get away from competing even more, because a lot of the times when you first start out, you're looking around what everyone else is doing. But as you start getting success, you start looking at what you're doing and what your staff are doing and how you can serve better and do better and bring more. And it's a completely different way to act. But when you first start, you just get stuck bogged down looking around, competing, comparing with everybody else. And it's very much like, that's all well and good and everything, but it only gets you to a certain level, and it keeps you playing small, and it's not good for your mental health. But when you start competing with yourself and you start dominating your own mindset, man, things open up for you, and you got to keep working that way, right? Insanely important. So just once more on that last one, you just got to stop competing with everybody else. Like I said before, it's community over competition. Like, create yourself a community, and then you got to dominate yourself, your own business, what you can do. Don't worry about what the naysayers and haters say when they're telling you you have to take a Saturday off, or you work too much, or you're doing this, or you're doing that, or you shouldn't be, or you can't, or you shouldn't, or you wouldn't, or like whatever it is. You've got to look after your own mindset, work out how you work, what you need, what rest days you need, not what everyone else tells you what you need. What do you actually need? Maybe you want to take Mondays off. Maybe you take off half a day. Maybe you only work 4 hours a week, whatever it is. You make up your own rules. You dominate your own mindset. Don't let other people push you around. Don't let anyone else dictate what you need to do. Don't compete with other people. Don't compare with other people. You've got to compare and compete with yourself, and you've got to be honest with yourself. Am I taking unrealistic actions today to hit my unrealistic goals? I want to end this whole podcast episode with asking you that. Today, what have you done today? What did you do this weekend? Did you go and find a new client? Did you make one more call, one more email? Did you do something to get yourself towards your goal? Because if you didn't, you're not going to get towards your unrealistic goals. I know it's hard truth, but honestly, like I'm sitting here right now and I'm saying this, right? You wouldn't think, like I'm a multi-7-figure a year owner. Why do I show up? Why do I wake up 5:30 in the morning on a Saturday morning while everyone else is asleep? Because everybody else sleeps like they're rich and I'm awake like I'm poor, right? Because I act like I'm hungry. I'm at the table. I'm ready to eat. There's so much food to go around for those that are willing and ready and ambitious, that show up, take responsibility. They don't get lazy. They don't feel entitled, and they earn their business. They earn their attention, and they earn their worth. So lots to think about on that one. I hope this one doesn't trigger too many people. I'm always sort of laying it out truthfully, and honestly, it's hard truth, I know, but it's important for me to lay it out because I am an educator. I don't want people to have false beliefs of like, oh yeah, but Jai doesn't really do too much, or successful people don't do too much. We just need to take a shortcut, join a course, implement 2 things, and we're going to have success for the rest of our lives. Like, I don't want to disillusion you to thinking that you can just get a little bit busy and then you're going to get a lot of success, because it's not like that. It's about making big impact to get that big success consistently over a period of time and showing up over and over and over, being relentless. That's what it takes. You want those unrealistic goals to hit, you got to take those unrealistic actions. So thanks for listening today. I'm recording, you don't know this, but I'm recording this last minute because I'm about to go into a shoot, which is about 4 hours away, spending the night. Again, it's a styled shoot and I'm paying for the models and the videographer and everything else because I'm taking responsibility. I want it to be fun. It's just a personal project. And what else are we working on? So many things. It's absolutely crazy. If you're not on the wait list for the 6-figure business map yet, you should get onto that. I'll leave a link in the show notes here. It's going to be on the 31st of May. And trust me when I say I've got some big speakers coming. It's going to be a 1-day summit. We're going to do an Apple style launch. We've rebuilt the whole course where we are right now from ground up. It's going to be absolutely next level. And the industry has evolved so much. So we need to evolve with it because, you know, the last generation are kind of dying out. We got this generation, but we got the next generation. And that's what I'm building this course for, because things are so different in the marketplace, especially after COVID, after the last couple of years. Things have changed. Things are moving forward. We need to make sure we're doing the same. So join that wait list, even if you're not going to join the course, because I'm going to send you some really cool freebies over the next month or so. And you don't want to miss out on those. And if you do want to find out, it's jailong.co/business-map. And that will redirect you to the wait list. And yeah, I can't wait to see you guys at that launch. And I'll see you next week.